Well, another day of overflowing the silt fence. The tree killed by the bark on its roots, the first big tree to die on the World Peace Wetland Prairie, thanks to the Aspen Ridge project working so close. You can see that aren't as many limbs as there used to be. Break it off. I had high hopes this would stand a long time for the woodpeckers, but we're going to have to get busy. Maybe the trunk will be there this time next year. But the major limbs are coming down. Somebody has moved a bunch of them away where they can haul them off. If they'd stayed away from the tree, a few feet away, further, as we were expecting them to do from the early discussions of the project, and that tree would be alive right now, and this wouldn't be happening. Let's see how it's torn up into the corner there, and fire plug, of course, is still mounted too high. But apparently the worst little overflow spot is right there today. It stopped overflowing now. The heavy rains quit, but you can see out in the grass what it's flowed all the way down to our front yard. This muddy slime that you don't want added to your topsoil. I'd love to have had some of the topsoil off this site. What they hauled away and covered up with this red dirt, yellow slime here, is not something you want to have to walk in or hope for anything to grow in. Not soil that would sustain agriculture. Of course, that corner of WPWP is just sliced off. Not a pretty sight. Well, they say they've got a new contractor coming in. Troy and Troy, I don't remember the last names right now. We'll remember that. Talk to them again, I'm sure, on site. They seem to be a nice man, father and son team. They're not responsible for any of this stuff here, so not much point in fussing at them. We'd like if they had come aboard sooner and taken care of it. As much as we want fresh water on our property, we can't say thank you for allowing this stuff to run either onto our property or into the stream. If you turn around, you can see the rain's almost stopped. It's very light now. There's quite a lot of this rain came over, this muddy water came over. Not desirable. It is nice this time of year in August. It's feeling cool water on your feet. We only wish that it was clear, cool water. And this the natural flow area down there. When it was raining hard, I couldn't really bring this little camera out here and record any of this. But you can see some of this overflowed into our backyard over there, inside that fence. And you can walk up to the west here and see if we're any other significant overflow spots. The mud's pouring in. This is a good day for snakes to be moving. This is clear right here, so that means we didn't get overflow up here. Well, there's a little bit there, yeah. There is a little bit there. A lot of this is okay. It's still vegetated, which minimizes the damage. That's the idea. Leave the vegetation, take care of the dirty water. We're really going to miss this tree, and sadly it's probably predictable that trees that had their roots undercut, such as that big oak out there, something that's supposed to be in the protected park area, trees like that and like this one are not likely to survive 2 or 3 years later. And with this erosion going on right now, it's probably gonna, all the water is helping the tree, the erosion around the roots is going to expose even some that haven't been cut, expose them a little further up and further increase the chances of their trees dying. Basically, it's silt fence is totally down right here, so that's where, see the grass pulled aside, but it was overflowing in, and that's why you've got some back in here. But there's a lot of grass here, so the grass is cleaning up as it flows across. You can see the grass that's been crushed down the last couple of rains. It's turned left brown there. A little bit, you can see some flow coming out of that area there, coming west and then downhill a little bit. And ooh, I just put my foot down in it right there. Not a bad feeling in August, but you can see it's coming here and going on down this way, and some of it's going there, and see where the silt fence is moved, so when it starts flowing heavy, it'll come right under there. Oh yeah, yes, there's no silt fence there, so that's how we're getting the muddy water here. But as I say, because we've maintained this grass, this will be cleaned quickly and soak in here. But still, it's not soil. It should be spread on a wetland area in northwest Arkansas or anywhere else on earth for that matter. I guess somewhere in the desert this might be considered better soil for growing things. I don't know. But what we're seeing out here is mostly gravel. There's some of the original topsoil very near the trees, and that's good. They need it. Let's hope the water's soaking in and the roots that haven't been cut will remain healthy. So if we wanted to stand out here and get soaked, it'd probably ruin our camera. We could show you this pouring over, because there's more rain expected tonight, and tomorrow. But I think you can see the way the grass is knocked over to your right, toward the south, into our yard. You can see how the flow has, how strong it's been over the silt fence here. A couple of days ago, 2 or 3 days ago, and then again for a while this morning. We need the rain. We just like it to soak in clean without the excess slimy mud, all of which has been brought in here. Runoff from the same land was 99% clear most of the time in the past. But this is our reality. We'll try to maintain our vegetation to absorb this stuff, and also to provide habitat for the wildlife that's been chased off these 28 acres that have been made unlivable. It's interesting. What's happened to that tree? I guess it was supposed to be preserved, and it's been affected heavily by the drought and the construction work. That's a bad combination. Drought and construction work. Rain's picking up, so we'll get this camera out of this rain. We'll know what's going on here. We'll sort of trace this back one more time. Say there's some over by the fence. Some of it's getting under the fence. And some of it's still pouring at me. It's going to increase apparently again. It stands right in there. It'll start flowing this way when it starts flowing over. The plants are going to flower again because of this rain. Tomatoes look like they've been attacked by something. See one down there, one little mater. So much beauty so close to this unpleasantness. See where some of this muddy water has come through right here nearby, and apparently coming under the silt fence there and down into this low area. Of course, that ends up flowing over in here. We got the vegetation to cleanse it in places here, not everywhere. Some places, like these are thick here, so it's just going to soak in. And that's what we want it to do, even though it's not the cleanest water we would like to have. It's not as dirty as it could be. Oh, I think you can see. Here you go. So here you can get an idea of how it's coming under the silt fence in that area. Until we have builders and developers and architects and planners all geared to stormwater cleanliness, and people that run the sewer plant would like it all to be clean when it goes in the storm drains and back at the lake. It's one of their goals. But anyhow, we can see A minor problem for us, but a major problem overall.
Don't want no help.
He'll call something when he needs it. Well, looks like somebody's gonna try it. You gonna try it?
Why is it?
Yeah, I said nobody's tried it. I don't think.
You think I'm that stupid? I ain't that stupid. You see how the entrance is? Huh? You see how the entrance
Be careful. Hold on. You already come and got your cans. I say you already come and got your cans.
You haven't emptied them yet?
Yeah, I guess so. You got them, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't empty.
Yours weren't empty?
The one can was, but that can there wasn't empty.
Planning Commission should not approve anything until they hire enough inspectors to have one there every day. The whole thing's being done because
it didn't make that didn't have anything to do with it.
They don't have any
the stupid
sense.
Engineers that did it, they did what the engineers told them to do. And the engineers is the ones that laid it out. The engineers is the ones that's stupid.
Well, you're right. I think sometimes they don't even come out.
They didn't know that this line was going to get broken too.
Yeah.
When they run that thing over here.
And you know how many times? No, I don't know how many times that woman that comes out and marks utilities, she marked them on this street over and over and over again.
And they surveyed it a dozen times. I don't know.
Are you still? Do you have? Are you leaving these ambrosias?
Which one should I?
Well, this is the time of year. They're just about, mostly in September, is when the birds use these. That's why we let our yard at least grow 25 feet tall in 2004.
Oh, really?
When it was so wet. And then they just died.
Okay, I'll leave them then. Sorry, I might have already got. I probably already got.
Well, you probably have, yeah.
Oh,
I don't know.
You want to leave this little strip of them then?
Well, I'd leave all I can. I mean, I wouldn't.
Okay.
God, I mean, it's such a critical time of year. Birds are trying to.
I know, trying to get ready for the fall.
Yeah. Audubon should not be mowing.
All right. Well,
that's not good.
To come and mow, so I did.
Yeah. Well, watch these are particularly, but anything that's going to seed right now.
Just leave it.
But gosh, I mean, yeah. I mean, I know they want to make the front look like pretty for the city, but for our neighbors who are kind of perverse, but these really are. We determined that I don't know,
What do you think about?
year or two after.
What about going ahead and getting this one sponsored?
Like I'd go ahead and do this grass out here in the front, so there's a. In other words, what you're trying to create is a front that looks trimmed from the street.
Right.
So, but this low grass stuff here, and over where you walk right over there, yeah. But I wouldn't attack anything over in that place, and I wouldn't go back over there.
All right.
But God, I wish we could get somebody to do a tree survey of the young trees back there.
Right.
Like there's things like sassafras. I mean, there's just such a variety. And this thing of let's hurry up and do this, it shouldn't be, you know, we should be surveying to identify and then remove in the winter when everything's dead and you can see, and then you can get past then you can get the honeysuckle because it's green. But yeah, I mean, we tolerate that in our yard. So you can't even walk through our yard some of years like this. You can't even see through. But the joy of it is this coming month when those seeds. Now some of the bigger ones, they're already starting to use them, but it's just beginning. Those are so young that they hadn't. You know, the seed's not going to be ready for another couple of weeks on that. But with the same plants, there's probably 2 or 3 back there somewhere. Yeah, I would suggest. See, all these are seed plants. I would suggest like going straight across here in the rock thing and making this look as good as you can for the front. Leave that little strip, but leave it so it looks intentional as opposed to a mistake. And that way, and the part that's in that shaded area there, it's not visible from the street much. You didn't get out here to... Hi.
Doing a little maintenance, a little cleanup.
Please don't use the word cleanup in talking about vegetative removal.
Talking about what?
When you talk about removing vegetation, cleanup's not the proper word. That's the old time farmer's word. Clean it up. Well,
I guess what I should say is doing a little maintenance trimming to weed the parts and parts.
that's the right phrase. That's the phrase. I was pointing out that the ambrosia is just now turning to seed, and September is the month when the birds eat all of it, and it's very critical for Audubon to be involved in removing bird seed and then selling bird seed to people to put out.
Here's what Fran and I thought about, and that kind of seals the idea. That is one of the greatest things that we can implement that in the idea is that like Fran is like somebody from Omni, because they're not really doing, you know, Steve's been out here at the cleanups, but they're not seeming to run and be wanting to do a lot of the physical work. It's for them to have a volunteer at the farmer's market that has the board. Don't you want to buy a boardwalk?
Because they're doing there anyway.
Because they're going there anyway. And so then
that is
one of the
very
other
good.
things we can do is collect the seed and sell it for 50 cents or $1 at the market for the World Peace Wetland Prairie.
Very good.
And so
yeah, we need a presence at those, everything we can. She would go.
She would go. She'd sass it up. Oh, so I had the best conversation with the city engineer yesterday.
Oh, it's Ron.
What's that?
Good old Ron.
Good old Ron.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, I would like to see the day when Mount Nord or Walnut looks like 11th Street for 6 months. Y'all would not tolerate it because those citizens wouldn't tolerate it. In
That's
our
right.
neighborhood, you have Aubrey and I, the ones that can email and feel comfortable to call. You know, I'm tired of being treated like that, and so are the other South Fayetteville neighborhoods. I'm going to demand that you get these guys out here and clean this up. And he's like, tell me the biggest problems that you think need fixing. I'm like, they're entrances. I'm like, I don't want to insult your math, but Dawn had given me a bunch of good engineer words to talk to.
Oh, yeah.
With. That was beautiful. You know, she was like, give him a real estimate. R-I-L-L. How deep do you think the lines are?
Did he make it through there?
No. No, that guy was going to drive through there, but he didn't. Thank goodness. Yeah, he didn't try it. Another one came, looked at it, and drove her down, turned around, and left.
Talking about their lake, talking about the creek, and...
Hey, I'm gonna go get a lunch. You want some?
Heck yeah. Where y'all going?
L7, spring rolls, what do you want?
I want spring rolls, and then what's L7 is what they usually get.
I don't know.
He gets me just get me what you usually get. Somebody loves the power equipment like Melissa loves the power equipment.
Yeah.
Melissa Terry is obsessed with power equipment. Loves to run the weed eater, loves to run the tiller and the trimmer.
Well, to me, the development is exactly the same as a terrorist attack from whatever source.
Well, and
You
I
know,
said,
when a person in my neighborhood, I'm asleep in the morning, turns on his lawnmower, I feel the same way as if he's shooting at me. You know. Run, Forrest, run, it said on the front.
I can't look at that one. The other thing I was going to ask, did you say, where'd this come from? It washed down the creek.
And it did.
Did you get wet?
Oh, that won't kill you.
Oh, Huxley, do you hear Zach's word? Stop. Telling me what you had to say. He's saying, I hear Zach saying, don't throw grass on me. He doesn't like it. Why don't y'all run around the house?
Kitty. Kitty, 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 kitty.
Kitty, 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 kitty,
Kitty, kitty, kitty,
Norton,
kitty.
get out of the road. So Sweet Creamly is all like, oh yes, I finally got
She's
some
got
friends.
some friends in
I've
the
got
neighborhood.
some friends in my neighborhood. Because you know when you have to call a friend, you have to go and get them. You gotta, different than walking over and playing for a couple hours before dinner.
Yeah. Written to protect and provide and enhance
Sure.
the wildlife habitat, and that's a stronger argument than a decorative park or a demonstration of what a prairie. This is the end of the prairie where it enters the drainage, as opposed to some of the trailer parks, which really had tall grass over on the far side and really was like prairie
Well,
like.
this one's got the grass because
But
where we weed eat it,
right,
I mean there's
it
all
comes
these,
up then. Yeah.
it's coming up,
Sure.
so we're just staking it.
So that's
And then we'll
what.
reseed it, and it'll be ready for it'll
Right,
come back.
but what I'm saying is, if we just mindlessly cut out the young trees without identifying what they are, just like we identified sassafras in our backyard, and there's some sassafras over there. This is a widespread native species. What are we doing? I'm sorry. What is it? Well, it's called World Peace Wetland Prairie. It's a city nature park. The front part is her husband is going to build a rock work for a seating area and a peaceful area. We don't even have a basketball goal in there, which I'm sorry about because I want one so bad in the neighborhood.
Well,
But
I don't see why we couldn't put it in the parking. Why we couldn't put a hoop in
put
the
a hoop in the
area.
parking and just don't.
You know, on the grass, not pavement, but on the ground.
Yeah.
I don't see why I couldn't put a hoop back in
Well,
there.
I learned to play basketball on rough ground with my goal on a chinaberry tree, and as I got taller, the goal was getting taller a little bit every year because my dad put it on a big chinaberry tree limb, and it stayed high enough I never could dunk because the tree was growing. So he put it, when I was like 8 years old, he put it up, maybe 9 feet, and it went past 10 by the time I was moved away from there at 15 or 16. but I learned to dribble on rough ground, so I was a pretty good dribbler compared to what I am now. But but anyway, this part, what we're doing, like what Saturday this month in September?
The 16th, September 16th is a work day out here. Anybody's welcome. And once you get here, if you want to come, we'll line you out. The front part is, you know, more decorative, but the back part is a wetland prairie.
Yeah.
And so we're removing invasives and
Things like honeysuckle, it just grows over stuff. We're trying to get rid of that. That's the hard part. But
Well,
have you ever
maybe-
read the sign over there? When you have time, walk up there and read all that, and you'll get a better than I can explain it, because we spend a lot of time writing it. You look good doing it.
So this is y'all's land?
Well, it's
No, it's owned
city,
by
it's
the
public
city.
land,
Yeah.
and it'll be totally different from the average park. We help raise money to get it. We have a bunch of different companies. One company, Tyson Food, helped pay for it, and Omni Center for Peace, Justice, and Ecology, and the Arkansas Audubon Society, and the city put in part of the money, and the Fayetteville Natural Heritage Group helped raise a little money for it, and so forth. So it's a group project, but it'll be a place you can take a kid and a little kid and say, look, here's a certain kind of bug, here's a certain kind of bird, here's a box turtle. It'll just be a nature
we
area.
found a huge box turtle
A huge one?
yesterday.
They're not supposed to be too huge. That's pretty huge.
I mean, for a box turtle.
That's
That's
huge.
what I'm saying.
I
It's
know,
huge for
yeah.
a box turtle. I mean, he's huge for a box turtle.
Did you get his picture?
We didn't get his picture.
Anyway, what's your name? I'm sorry, I'm Aubrey Shepherd. I'm Aubrey Shepherd. I've talked to you about coming to play ball before.
I walk through here all the time. And,
Where do you work?
But remember that Sunday afternoon softball, it'll probably be like 5 if we play this week. Start between 5 and 6 and play till dark. If you can. You too.
So you're confused as to what you should mow
A little bit.
since Aubrey came over and...
Well, I mean, the only...
Can you see the edge of the circle? Or is it too weedy?
Where the mulch is, or where
No,
the
on this
flags
side. On this side over here.
are? I see the flags, but I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, okay, then I need to show you, but
I wish you had a little more instead of that driving thing. That's pretty...
we don't have a little... Well, we got the weed eater.
Yeah, I'm about to just use the weed eater, I guess.
But that's what I'm saying. Right now, the seeds are about to all be ready.
But like some of the
September
some of these
into
seeds
October.
they're not going to eat, like the Dallas grass and the...
Oh, I don't know about
the,
Dallas grass.
A lot of the grass seeds, like the amaranth, they're going to eat. But then they're going to eat some of the stuff that we've put into the garden too. They like those sweetgrass seeds.
Yeah.
They like the gamma grass. The gamma grass, it's a precursor to corn. It's the evolutionary precursor to corn.
Really? That's
Yeah, and so it has this thing that looks like a mini corn cob that's separated into 3 that is delightful food.
Have you put any seed on the ground in that?
Over there?
Have you got some
Well, I don't
something
know
you
what
can seed
I've
in
got
there?
Well, like my seeds, all these seeds I planted, Aubrey,
Uh-huh.
I don't know how to break their dormancy. So Chuck took them to the greenhouse.
Well, do you have some seeds you can just sprinkle? You don't have any?
I do. I have some ryegrass, Syrian rye.
Why don't you put the rye next to in that while it's wet
Okay, I'll do that. I'll do
in
that
here, and
today.
that'll green that up because it just looks
Like shit.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll get a rake here in a minute.
The new contractors have come out and staked down some hay bales. It would have helped some last week, but when this was overflowing here into the street and into the storm drain, this really needs to be stabilized, completed and stabilized, because we've got all this bare ground. mud, if we have substantial rain again, it'll overflow again. So at least somebody's back on the project here. And we certainly don't want them to abandon the project when they've got things like this torn up. Jurgens is the man who was out here one day and talking to him about things. I watched him on a government channel video the other day. He does a good job, but basically the city, all the city departments are overwhelmed by the activity. But these new guys are supposed to go to work on it, but it's got to dry out some. You can see how muddy it is right there. You know, you couldn't even drive in there.
Oh no.
And these dump trucks came around here yesterday trying to deliver some kind of gravel or something, and they didn't go in. But
Dump truck is higher up than that.
yeah, they didn't. They were smart enough not to get stuck in there. Which house do you live in? Do you live on this street or?
No, I've got some other houses down. I used to live down there on Brooks.
Oh, really?
Am I blocking traffic?
No, we're both just out here looking at what they've done today, or so far. So, where are your houses on?
Over on Brooks, from 15th to
Oh,
Walker.
okay. Are they building new stuff around you over there too, or?
Fairly near.
Well, it's just overwhelming how they don't do what they promise to alleviate problems.
My son owned 3 houses. They were old, real old. You know, but in that where they tore them all down.
Right.
He owned 3 of them, and now it's just a bunch of gravel.
Just mud and gravel and stuff.
So I don't know what happened with that Aspen Ridge people, but
Well, they're still owners, I guess, but I don't know what the new signs say. I hadn't read them.
yeah, it just says one sign says sales office and the other one says construction entrance, and then it gives a website and a telephone number. That's it.
Well, they're big on selling them, but they hadn't got them built yet.
I know.
Isn't that funny?
That made me curious about it, because I would see commercials on TV and heard them on the radio. They were selling those things, and they weren't even started building them. And I thought, well, something's going on here.
They want to sell.
Everything stopped.
They want to sell you.
Ran out of money.
Well, that may be part of the problem, and because people, old folks kind of know if you don't really have a way to pay for it, don't sign up for it. You learn that if you ever get over in debt once, most folks can get over that stupidity. But some of these people are so ambitious and so confident they can succeed that they go into debt for massive amounts of land and so forth. But of course, they bought most of this cheap. I'm sure your son didn't get what he would want.
Get
what he should, yeah.
But he was, all 3 houses he had were real old. He had the one on the corner of Anderson Place and Hill Street. And it was just a real small house. And people that lived there always let it grow up, didn't have to need or anything. And then those other 2 that he had they were real old.
Yeah.
And, but they were worth, some money.
Well, the thing that cities beginning to realize, they authorized all this building. Now, see, these things, the price they've set
I'll see you later.
a year or 2 ago.
I'm out planting trees today.
Well, good for you. Did you, what were the guys stopped out here about 30 minutes ago or something?
I didn't see him.
I didn't come out because I work at night and don't get up early.
The tree guys coming out to plant 2 of those huge trees today.
What kind?
Legacy sugar maple.
Oh, wow. So they're going to be on the front.
They're going one in the front yard, and then they're going to drag up that basketball net that goes in the back. They're going to bring a chain. They're going to get their machine and suck it out of the ground and plant a tree.
Where are you going to put the basketball goal?
It's going to make it habitat all.
Oh no! I was just thinking. Last night. I'm serious. I was saying I'm going to go down there and ask Mitch if he wants to play a little one-on-one. He's got that goal out there, and I've never seen anybody using it. And now I thought that just before he got the idea to or just after you got the idea to let him take it off.
Get rid of it for a long time and replace it with a tree.
Yeah, well that's great, but I wish we had a goal here nearby.
Well, you want it? I mean, I told him the other day. I said, you can tell the guys that come out and that plants the trees, that drags it up, that if they want it, they can have it. And the guy called today and said they were going to plant the tree, and I said, y'all going to be sure to bring that chain to pull that basketball goal. And he said, what goal? So I said, well, it's on the work order. So they don't know anything about it.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. What's your name?
Marie Kilgore.
Kilgore. Aubrey Shepherd's my name. This is Mitch Woody.
I made you a sign one time.
What kind of sign?
A magnetic sign. Hey,
what year? 1977?
Early 70, or sometime in the 70s.
Well, look on the side of that truck right there. That sign's on that truck.
Really?
What's that in the back of that metal thing? I should know, but
What?
this thing right here.
Miss Kilgore, let me get you my business card before you drive off, so
That
we
thing
keep in
in
touch with you.
Yeah.
That little fence-looking thing.
Right.
It's a extender. If you open the tailgate, you can flip that back up, and you got a longer truck there.
Oh yeah.
I've seen them before. I just didn't remember what they.
That's what they
I remember
are.
seeing. Hold on just a minute. Yeah, I'd love you to see that sign while you're here. Just a minute.
You write for the paper?
Well, I'm just a copy editor. Work at night and edit other people's stories. But I write for that website a little bit about what's going on around here and stuff. Well, tell me now. I think okay. Where were you doing this? At home, or you worked at a shop, or you had a shop?
We had a little shop in our. We had an outbuilding at the back of the property, and.
Well, where was that? I don't remember.
For the whole family was supposed to be involved. And
But you were doing most of it.
most all. And it just got so hard than I could deal with taking care of the rent houses and doing the signs too. So gave up the signs because I'm not an artist.
Well,
And
that was a good one. You can see, and one on the other side. And now they've been put away for years. I haven't used them consistently. But recently I turned them up, a while back here, a few months ago, and I said, well, I ought to use those. It's silly, either, throw them away or use them, Well, they're expensive now, I imagine, but my post office box was $3.51. So she's painted over this to get the new box, $31.59. So that it doesn't give people a bad address to mail something to you. Because at the time I was doing that, I was getting tons of mail because of those newspaper columns. Everybody had to write you their fishing report if they couldn't get a hold of you on the phone or something.
Aubrey, I got to get back down.
And like
that.
Okay. Well, I'll come look.
All right.
So that sign kind of was there to let people know where to. Well, I'd like us to figure out somewhere we can save it and figure out if we can put it on that property over there or something.
Well, we might probably end up with a whole bunch of people out there playing basketball.
Well, I'll be right in the middle of them.
Well, I know I made a mistake of telling some kids that they could play one time.
Uh-huh.
One of them fell down and hurt himself.
Oh.
Daddy was talking about suing me.
Oh, well, yeah, you don't want it on your yard for that reason,
Turns
yeah.
out, to make a long story short, that was before Betty put her fence out there, and he'd actually stepped in a hole over on her property.
Over on her property.
So the guy said, well, where's your property line? I said, it's
Over here.
it's right over there. And the kid's laying here, laying there crying, oh, my leg, my leg. He just sprained his ankle. His mama was rubbing his head. And talking about me suing me, man. So.
I got it. I get the picture, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
There's a tree out there. They better not be climbing the tree. That's
Climbing.
They get hurt.
yeah. Well, let's hope they don't start that. Well, anyway, that's just remarkable that you stopped to visit and we could
Yeah.
talk about that side. So I don't remember. You must have had an ad in the phone book or somewhere that I ordered that from. I don't remember.
You know, I don't remember.
Or somebody told me that's where you go to get them or something. I don't know. But
I don't remember how we.
I like
I bet we had something in the phone book.
something like that. Yeah. But anyway, they served me well.
We bought this this little business just a few years before this kind of sign kind of went out. And shortly, just a few years after we started doing this, they started with the magnetic sheet that they paint on, and they looked nicer, but I'm not an artist, so.
Well, you had a machine that stamped this material into the letters you wanted.
Yeah, what it did was, it was a big machine that you heated the plastic. You had all the letters and numbers set on the machine, and then you pulled the lid down, and there was a heating element in the lid, and you heated it up for so many seconds, and then turn on the vacuum, and it would suck that hot plastic down over the letters, and also you had the magnetic tape already down, and it would just adhere to
everything that you put there. That's terrific. Yeah, I've seen those now, just flat things, and they electronically do some of that now, I think.
Probably.
It's probably got a machine that prints a picture or a lettering on there. But I don't want to part with that. I don't get to do as much outdoor stuff as I used to, but it brings back good memories of when I got to do a lot of it.
That was the hardest stuff. You see, this is not perfectly level. It looks, at first it looked, but those letters were not magnetized. They were just plastic, hard plastic. And you had to set them on there and line them up. And it was hard to do. And get it really straight. And this was probably one of the first few that I made.
Really? Well, I've always thought it was perfect. That's terrific. Well, I appreciate you stopping. So where do y'all live?
When we moved back here from Kansas City, we had bought a place out on 45. And now it's still in town.
Yeah.
But it's right across from Root Elementary School.
Well, gosh, I'm glad to visit with you. This project is, now we saved a little bit here. You see the entryway right down there, this side of the mailbox, little driveway? Okay, well that's from the telephone pole here to the next telephone pole, basically, is the World Peace Wetland Prairie. I've got it on that website, a lot of information back, and it's a half acre right out front there beside ours, and then it's 2 acres that go across behind there, and it's now a city nature area. And the developer, James Mathias, you remember the people that had the discount store up on the Archibald Yale? Well, their sons or daughters and whatnot are all into that developing business or rentals and so forth. So James Mathias that has a rental company, so he was wanting to build apartments, so he got them approved for 48 apartments in that area around there, 2.5 acres. And boy, that was really going to hurt the neighborhood, and it's a wetland area that soaks water, slows down the flooding. And so we went to bat and got all that documented every way we could. There's a lot of pictures and stories about it on the website there, but turned out when he got it all approved by the city, he agreed to sell it to us. Well, it took us 2 years to raise the money, and different people helped with it, a lot of different people, and it ended up that Tyson Food Company gave us a $25,000 grant, and the Omni Center for Peace, Justice, and Ecology gave us $25,000 to go on it, and the Audubon, Arkansas Audubon, the state chapter of it, put in about the same, and that's $75,000 with a little donation from us in the neighborhood, and the Fayetteville Natural Heritage raised a little bit, and the city had, city council had agreed to give $50,000 to it. So it's city park, but it's a nature park, and some of us are on a committee that has to take care of it. So, in other words, we're building the front area will be a nice area for folks that want a quiet place that's pleasant to sit outdoors and be a peaceful place. That's what Omni wanted. Dick Bennett, an old professor of mine, was behind that, their donation and so forth. And the back part will just be natural with, but we're having to clean all this honeysuckle out so you can see the wildflowers and stuff, because it just goes everywhere.
It's pretty, it smells good, but it is the biggest pest.
It'll kill everything else.
It will.
Yeah. So we've got a big job going on, working on that, you know, just in our spare time as we can. And you can take a walk all through there sometime when it gets a little cooler. Well, it's cool enough today, but it's heating up fast, isn't it? But anyhow, we saved that little part, but this was a different developer. Hank Broyles, one of Coach's sons,
yeah,
was
he
involved
was involved
in
in that, but I've heard that now, this guy was telling me, and he didn't elaborate, he didn't give me background, he just said, all at once those New York guys said that they didn't need Hank Broyles, and they cut him loose. So I don't know what happened, but it was right after that everything stopped.
Well, it's sure a mess right now, and they, if you didn't drive through here last week around the time it was raining so much, that water,
I was a lot of water.
you saw it was, well, it was full and overflowing down the street.
Oh, I wasn't in here at that time. No.
And it's just a muddy mess. And to see they're going to put in new power lines on the street because of this development, because it's going to take 28 acres of condominiums will need a lot of electricity. So you see that stump? That was a cedar that went way up into the power line area. And there's a picture of that on the website, just showing one picture showing the flowers. See that rose vine that's lying down there now? We kind of wrestled with the SWEPCO people cutting the trees, because this is the youngest part of that rose, but it had some older stems that went up there, and this in May when the roses bloom the best, this would be just wrapped in roses, red roses. So you can see that's...
Now the cedar tree, I don't care if it's gone, because I'm allergic to them.
Are you?
They make me sick.
Oh my gosh.
And
I'm lucky on allergies.
Yeah,
I don't have that many, but
it's called mountain cedar that I'm allergic to. But I'm sure it's those kind that come
it's
up bald
everywhere. But you can see that rose way out at the end. There's leaves. And
you were able to save that.
well,
part.
we don't know, because you know it's not killed, but we don't know where they're going to want to set their post. Their post needs to go out this way. Okay. If they'd have just put, see the curb for this street coming out of there is supposed to circle right out there. You see a little pink mark in the street. Well, it comes out close to your tire there, and then comes around toward this line right here. So they had some room to put the power pole out, which would actually line it up between that power pole and that one over there. But you know, they wouldn't change their plan and leave the trees and stuff in here. But the biggest value of all this vegetation. We've been growing this ever since we knew this was coming. We hadn't trimmed back anything on the edge and tried to plant more, because dust, as those dump trucks came in and out of here, I mean, there were like several hundred a day trips, and there'd be a stream of them going and coming. They hauled the natural dirt out and brought in this yellow slime, and I call it
clay,
to make the foundations with. See? And then they're going to put that old red dirt with all that rocky stuff out in the hills in there to make the base for the road. But they took all the topsoil off almost the whole place.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
And so we had dust flying just all the time, and noise. And when you remove the vegetation, you get a lot more noise and 100 times more dust.
Yeah. It probably helps keep some of the dust away from the house.
Well, it keeps some, but we still got it. Like those folks would wash their car every few days, and they had to quit doing it. They just gonna have a dusty car, you know. You know the Smiths there? That's Diana Smith. It's out in her yard.
Those people the Smiths have been there since I moved here first time in 1957. And I remember my in-laws talking about the Smiths living there, and they always had a big garden and everything. They talked about their garden. And, so they're still the same family. Yeah.
Now Larry, her husband, he's the grandson of the lady that owned this house before we did, and she died, and one of her sons sold us the place, and but she had lived in that house when he was a kid, see, and then somehow he ended up buying that house from her when she bought this house, and he's got 6 kids, so they're mostly, you know, grown and gone, but I mean they're still around. They're a wonderful family.
Oh, I better get back to work.
Well, boy, I'm glad. Tell me your first name again.
Marie
Kilgore, and I'm Aubrey, and I'm just delighted you remembered doing that sign and could tell me the history of how you built them and everything. That was terrific. But well, keep in touch. You got my card there, and I don't know what to say. We just hoping I can live long enough to see this completed and grass growing and some trees planted and looking more like it's a neighborhood again.
As hard as the city gets on people, why haven't the city done anything about this?
Well, you know, one of the theories was that when you put Coach Broyles' name, even if it's one of his sons, into something, it gets it a certain amount of respect.
I know.
And they
if he's out of it, they ought to be getting after him now.
Well, you'd think so. Well, you can see the edge of the railroad over there. See how it's eroded? Now they took all the vegetation all the way up to the tracks. And that wasn't, at some point, it's not even their property. They took vegetation off the right-of-way up there, I'm sure, because the railroad always keeps enough right-of-way to make safe for the trains. And it's actually looked like a danger that the embankment could erode and you'd have a possible derailment situation created by weakening the railroad embankment. But they did that all along there too, and it's just more things wrong with it than I can think of in one day.
Looks like somebody got the job, didn't know what they were doing.
Well, you know, the people that plan it and talk to the city, they promise this and that, and it all sounds good, but the word does not get down to the actual people on the ground. Because it's a contractor and a subcontractor doing different things. And if you decide to build anything, you need to be there yourself and see that it's done the way you expect it to be. Otherwise, you can't depend on it. Well, thank you for stopping.
Okay.
I enjoyed talking with you. It's the first time in several years that this ambrosia is not really gigantic. Now this is, we're talking, it's close to 10 feet or so here, but not taller than that, and a lot more of them in past years. So but this little group right here by the back door is important to me because I've already seen several birds today that are a lot closer and a lot more interesting than normal because they're feeding in the tops of this. Here's one there. Don't know. Lady cardinals up there in the hackberry tree eating. Who's this? It's also in a hackberry. That little guy's been alternating between the hackberry and the ambrosia.